Mr. Russo explains elements of plot.
One way to really help us remember content is to put movement to it. Our brains remember it better if we associate something with it. And so now what I'm going to show you is the way to help you remember the 5 parts of a story, or the elements of plot. Okay? Exposition is the first part. Exposition is any background information. It's a flat line. We go like this. It's flat because nothing really happens in the exposition. We get information, we learn about the characters, we learn about where they come from, maybe where the story is happening and what their major problem is, but nothing else happens. There's always also a conflict, a problem that cuts into the exposition, something that disrupts the norm. And that conflict causes the characters to act, and things start to build up during the rising action. Okay? Rising action, things are building up. There are problems happening, there are characters reacting to problems, but they keep building and building and building, and they build until it gets so high, so big, that something has to happen, and that thing that happens is called the climax. And the climax is when something happens. They call it the turning point. And if you think about the mountain, it's always that top of the mountain before it starts falling down again, because something changes at that moment. And after the climax happens, after that big thing happens, things start cooling out. That's called the falling action. It's what immediately happens afterwards, the falling action. And then finally, we find out what happens, what the solution to the problem is, and that's called the resolution. And we wipe our hands like this because everything's all done. It's the ending. So real quickly, you have the exposition. Nothing's really happening. We're getting the background information. There's a conflict. Conflict causes the characters to act, and things build up during the rising action, and they build up, they get so tense until something has to happen, and that big thing that happens is the climax. And then things start cooling out. They start falling, relaxing, fall in action, until finally we know how it all ends up, and that's the resolution. Things are solved. End of story. They don't always have to happen in that order, but a good story has all those parts.